Evening all, Daniel Hand, RPG therapist, and today we're going to look at that most crucial aspect of any quote-unquote successful therapeutic intervention, the relationship between the client and the individual they've turned to, or been referred to for support with their mental and emotional well-being. Each and every one of us in this profession has it drilled into us right from the very beginning of our training that nothing is as important as the therapeutic relationship. And this holds true for every client and every presenting issue, regardless of your professional modality. If you're person-centered, your primary concern is in fostering an appropriate relationship. If you're psychodynamic, your primary concern is in fostering an appropriate relationship. If you're in cognitive behavioral therapy, your primary concern is in fostering an appropriate relationship. I think you can see the pattern. If you're a student and you're on a course that tells you anything else, word to the wise, find yourself a new course, seriously. It goes without saying then that the primary concern of an RPG therapist must also be in fostering appropriate therapeutic relations. And as I've said previously, just because we use dice and storytelling doesn't mean we can shirk our professional and ethical responsibilities. Bearing this in mind then, in what ways can a therapeutic relationship develop and, more importantly, help in an RPG therapy setting? Let's have a ponder. Now, once again, this is a huge topic and it just isn't feasible to boil it all down into a single 10-minute YouTube video. I'm happy to return to it later if there's a call for it, but for now, we're just going to focus on the fundamentals. To aid me in this endeavour, and I apologise up front for doing this to all of you, I know this is going to re-traumatise a lot of viewers. I'm going to refer to one of the paradoxically most fascinating and mind-numbingly boring books in the therapeutic world, Petrushka Clarkson's The Therapeutic Relationship. I know many of us would love to have burned our copies of this damn book during our basic training. I mean, seriously, how is it possible for a book to be so appallingly tediously written? But there's no getting away from the fact that the Clarkson model, in which she identifies 5 key ways that the therapeutic relationship manifests itself within a setting, has become a core underlying principle of the helping professions. This being the case, I'm going to do much the same as I did with my ethics video, go through the list and see how it applies to or is impacted by the game/story-focused nature of RPG therapy. Even following this scaled-back format, though, I realised as I was writing the script that I can't realistically fit everything into a single video. I ummed and ahed about whether or not I should just bite the bullet and make this one a bit longer, but at the end of the day, I think it'd be sensible to make this a 2-parter, if only to save my editor's sanity. Hi, Bryce. So for today, I'm just going to give an overview of Clarkson's model, a look at the first 2 of the 5 relationship types, and then next week we'll look at the remaining 3 and wrap things up. So, as I mentioned, the Clarkson model identifies 5 types of therapeutic relationship, any of which may develop between any given therapist-client dynamic. These relationships are the working alliance, the transferential/counter-transferential relationship, the person-to-person relationship, the reparative or developmentally needed relationship, and the transpersonal relationship. Clarkson contests, and many, including myself, agree, that each therapeutic relationship is unique to the client and practitioner between whom it develops. Introducing RPGs to the equation can have interesting ramifications, as we'll see. So then, the first form of therapeutic relationship we'll consider is probably what one might call the baseline or fundamental form, the working alliance. To quote Clarkson, the working alliance is the part of the client-therapist relationship that enables the client and therapist to work together even when one or both of them do not want to. In real terms, this just means that the therapist and the client have to actually be able to sit down with each other and get on with the task of unraveling or fixing the client's issues. Just like any other professional relationship, be it in an office, the military, whatever, they have to be able to put their heads together and work towards a specified goal. Not exactly rocket science. In RPG therapy, this very much remains the case. The RPG is just a tool that the therapist and the clients have agreed to use as part of the therapeutic process. The working alliance itself has to be built before that tool becomes a viable one. Don't get me wrong, this doesn't necessarily have to be a long, drawn-out process. You'll pretty quickly, in the first 10 minutes or so of actually meeting each other, figure out whether or not you'd be a good fit for each other and whether or not an RPG would be an appropriate form of intervention. But the point remains that the working alliance, that professional boundaried relationship between therapist and client, must be in place before you even consider starting the RPG. The RPG is the result of the working alliance, not vice versa. And as long as you remember that this is a professional activity, that the RPG is in service to the therapy, not the other way around, you're on to a winner. The second relationship form is the transferential or counter-transferential relationship. Petrushka Clarkson, the transference/countertransference relationship is the experience of distortion, Freud's words, of the working alliance by wishes and fears and experiences from the past transferred, carried over, onto or into the therapeutic partnership. Transference and countertransference are two extremely important concepts in psychotherapy, especially in psychoanalysis and psychodynamic theory. I'll no doubt end up doing a whole video on the topic, which, now that I think about it, might well be true about every individual point on this list. So I'll try not to go too overboard here. In essence, transference is a phenomenon whereby the client reacts to, feels about, behaves towards, etc., the practitioner in the same way they've reacted to other people in their life. Often, but not always, significant people from their past, like parents or school bullies. For example, their parents always seem to find them annoying, and now they assume that the therapist finds them annoying too. So they transfer their feelings towards these other people onto the therapist. Countertransference is a reaction to this, whereby the therapist starts to feel or think like those other people did. If the client behaves as if everyone finds them annoying, how do the people in their life react to that? And both of these can be helpful because they allow for exploration, challenge, and ultimately change. Fingers crossed. The great thing about RPG therapy is that, as well as allowing for transference and countertransference to develop between the therapist and the client as usual, it also allows it to develop between them and the fictional characters in the game or the story. Does the character think or behave like everyone finds them annoying? What could have caused that? How does the client feel about this aspect of their character? The fictional frame, as I've previously mentioned, really expands the therapeutic opportunities, and nowhere is this more apparent than with its ability to explore transference and countertransference through all of these different relationships. It's awesome and opens up so many opportunities for the client to identify and reflect upon their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors towards others. And for now, that's where we'll leave it. Apologies for leaving on a cliffhanger. I only hope you can bear the tension of not knowing what happens next for a whole week. Spoiler alert, more of the same. If you found this topic interesting, as usual, I'd love to hear from you. Are there any times when you yourself have felt these or other types of relationships in your own games or therapy? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're down there, please do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. I swear I started saying that in my sleep. You'll also find a link to my book, Role-Playing Games in Psychotherapy, a Practitioner's Guide, which has a lot of information, among many other things, on this particular topic. So if you're interested in the subject, by all means, pick up a copy and see where the adventure takes you. Everyone, as usual, thank you so much for watching this video. I really look forward to speaking to you again next week, where we will cover the final 3 elements of Clarkson's model. So until then, take it easy, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and have a good one. Cheers.